Big fish make better fishing videos. More fish make more entertaining videos. And slow trips give you nothing worth posting at all. At least that's what they tell you. But some of the most exciting fishing trips create boring videos. While a trip where nothing goes right can be impossible to stop watching. Because the fish are not the story. They're only part of it. That used to be exactly how I treated my own footage. I'd take my GoPro out and I'd record for hours. And then I'd get home, I'd fly through the footage and look for one thing: fish catches. If I didn't catch anything that felt worth my time, I just went and deleted all of it. If I did catch something worth keeping, I'd pull out the catch, edit it into a short, and post it across social media. And that's completely fine if your goal is to make highlight clips. But if you want to make meaningful fishing videos, there's a problem with that approach. It treats the fish as the only evidence that anything worth watching happened. And that's almost never true. A fish catch can be the payoff. It could be the thumbnail. It could be the moment everybody remembers. But a catch is not automatically a story. A story is the reason that catch matters. It's the expectation before the cast. The problem that made the day difficult. The clue that changed your thinking. The decision that you made because of that clue. And the lesson the viewer can use on their next trip. That's why a trip with 20 fish can still feel repetitive, while a trip with one fish can hold attention all the way through. The first trip may have more action. The second trip may have more change. And change is what gives a story movement. You're not trying to manufacture a drama. You're not trying to exaggerate your fish. You're not trying to turn every missed bite into a crisis. You're trying to make accurate information easier to follow, easier to remember, and more useful. And the good news is that the story is usually already inside the trip. You just need a framework that helps you recognize it. I call this the CAST framework. Core question, adversity, signals and shifts, and takeaway. There's also one bonus piece that connects all four parts. Without it, CAST can still feel like a checklist instead of a story. I'll show you what that bonus is after we get through the framework. Let's break it down. First, the core question. Before you launch, ask one clear question that the trip can answer. This is what I used as the foundation for my own video intros. I introduce the question early, and then I build the story around the process of trying to answer it. Not, let's go fishing and see what happens. That gives the viewer no direction. Try something like this. Can I still catch bass shallow after this overnight temperature drop? Will these fish stay on the wind-blown bank after the water gets dirty? Does this lure actually produce more bites in these conditions, or does it just feel more productive? Now the viewer has a reason to watch the next cast. They're not only waiting for the fish, they're waiting for an answer. And that question also helps you decide what footage matters. Your launch conditions matter. Your predictions matter. The first place you stop matters. The first result that agrees with your prediction matters. And the first result that challenges it may matter even more. That leads to the second part, adversity. Adversity is anything that puts pressure on the core question. It creates doubt whether the question can still be answered, or whether your original prediction was just wrong. If your core question is, can I still catch bass shallow after this overnight temperature drop? The adversity is not simply the water is colder. The adversity is that you spend an hour fishing shallow and nothing happens. Now the question is under pressure. Are the fish still shallow? Was the original prediction wrong? Do you stay with the plan or abandon it? That uncertainty is what gives the story tension. And in fishing, you don't have to invent it. The weather changes, the water rises, the bait disappears, the area gets pressured, your first pattern fails. The fish show up on sonar and just refuse to bite. But the adversity only matters when it creates resistance against the question you introduced at the beginning. That's what separates adversity from signals and shifts. Adversity creates a problem. Signals and shifts show you how to respond to it. Adversity makes the viewer wonder, can this still work? What went wrong? What are you going to do now? And that's not bad footage. That's the moment the original question collides with reality. This is where a lot of creators make a mistake. They hide the slow part because they think no bites means nothing happened. But if those empty casts challenge the original question, they're part of the story. The key isn't to show every cast. The key is to show the empty casts that increase the doubt, change the stakes, or force a decision. If you fish 3 places and nothing changes, compress it. But if the 3rd place makes you question the entire plan, now the story's moved. The adversity has changed what the viewer believes might happen next. And that creates the need for new evidence. That brings us to our 3rd part, signals and shifts. And this is where fishing content becomes a story instead of a lecture. A signal is something that you observe. A shift is what you do because of it. I like to call this the B's and T. Because, but, and therefore. That because is your reasoning. But is what challenged that reasoning. Therefore is how you responded. Here's what that sounds like. I started on this bank because the wind had been blowing into it for 2 straight days. But after an hour, I still hadn't had a bite. Therefore, I stopped fishing the wind and started looking for bait instead. Almost every meaningful decision in your fishing videos can be explained with the B's and T. Because, but, therefore. That's what creates movement. Don't build a list of and-thens. I did this, and then I did that, and then I did this. And that only tells us what happened. The B's and T tell us why the story moved forward. The viewer can follow the logic. They can agree with you. They can disagree with you. They can make their own prediction. And when that happens, the next cast means more. Because now they want to know whether their prediction was right. And there's an important rule here. One fish is not proof. One fish is a clue. Don't turn a single catch into a universal law. Tell them what changes with that catch. Tell them what doesn't change. Tell them what you want to test next. Honesty doesn't weaken the story. It creates trust. Now imagine 2 videos. In the first one, the creator catches 20 fish on the same lure. Every catch looks good. Every fish is real. But after the viewer understands the pattern, nothing changes. Another cast, another fish, another gripping grin. The trip was excellent. The story is flat. In the second video, the creator launches with the prediction. The first area that they fish fails. The conditions don't match the expectation. A clue appears. The creator changes locations. The next decision also fails. And then one thing happens that changes the entire approach. Maybe the final result is one small fish. Maybe it's no fish at all. But if the viewer understands what was tested, what changed, and what was learned, they have a reason to stay. The fishing result may be worse. The viewing experience may be better. That's the contrast most fishing creators miss. The quality of the trip determines what happened. The quality of the story determines whether the viewer cares what happens next. The last part of the framework is the takeaway. At the end of the trip, don't only tell us what you caught. Tell us what changed in your understanding. What did the trip support? What did it challenge? What would you repeat? What would you do differently? And what can the viewer apply? A strong takeaway might sound like this. I came into the trip believing the wind would keep these fish shallow. What I missed was that the colder water had changed where the bait was positioned. The fish I caught didn't prove that every bass had moved, but it did show me that I should have treated bait presence as a stronger signal than the wind alone. And that's useful. It's specific. It's honest. And it gives the trip meaning beyond the fish. Now for the bonus part of the cast framework. The piece that connects all 4 parts is participation. Your viewers shouldn't feel like they're just watching you solve the trip. They should feel like they're solving it with you. The core question gives them something to predict. The adversity makes them question whether the original plan will work. The signals and shifts give them new evidence to think about. And the takeaway lets them compare what they believed at the beginning with what they understand now. That's when a fishing video becomes more than footage. The viewer is no longer waiting for you to catch a fish. They're watching to see whether your idea works, whether the adjustment matters, whether the evidence changes the outcome, and whether their own prediction was right. The fish can still be the payoff, but participation is what makes the viewer care enough to stay for it. You may be wondering how to put this all together. So here's how this changes the way that you edit. When I used to review footage, I searched for bent rods. Now the better question is, where did the story change? Look for 5 moments. The prediction, the first obstacle, the clue, the decision, the result. And build those moments first. And then use the catches as payoffs inside of the story. When you get home, don't start by looking for the fish catches. Start by looking for the moments when your understanding changed. Because your next meaningful fishing video may already be sitting inside your camera. Don't delete the story just because the fish didn't cooperate.